Elizabeth Blancas, and I'm a visual artist from Hayward, California. As a woman of color, I am very critical of the 19th Amendment, and that is why I decided to be a part of this exhibition. I'm excited to be alongside other folks that are also reflecting on this time in history, not just as a moment of celebration, but as a time to really learn from and interrogate how the right to vote for Black, Indigenous, and Brown folks was fought for tooth and nail by us. As a visual artist, I see my practice as an opportunity to create visuals of narratives and community leaders that have oftentimes been excluded out of history, right, intentionally. And because I'm also Chicana, I understand that my rights are so intertwined with those that have come before me. And due to the inspiration and really legacy of these folks, I decided to uplift one person in particular with this project, and I created a portrait of Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer was 45 years old when she realized, or rather learned, that she, as a Black woman, technically did have the right to vote, although there was a ridiculous amount of obstacles put in place. And this time in her life was a turning point where she really moved into action, not only for herself, but those around her as well. The simple or not so simple act of registering to vote, just the act of seeking that information and access really put her at risk. This action of her registering to vote got her fired and kicked off of the plantation that she was living and working on. As I mentioned, Fannie Lou Hamer's work was not just about her or her right to vote, it was really about the larger community that she came from. And she did a lot of work through various forms of activism. Fannie Lou Hamer's civil rights leadership really comes in various ways. The work that she did in her lifetime was not only registering others to vote, but it was really, I think, a more whole or holistic way of serving her community. So she was a part of freedom farming, freedom schools, advocacy, of course, voter registration, and she also ran for office. So I think that's really incredible, as especially as a Black woman that learned much later in life that she could vote. Of course, because of all these obstacles and intentional exclusion of Black and Indigenous people, she did not let that stop her, and she was incredibly persistent about what she was fighting for. A subtle nod to some of Fannie Lou Hamer's freedom farming is the vegetation and flowers that I chose to adorn her with. And I chose okra, again, vegetation and flowers. One of the visual references that I make to Fannie Lou Hamer's freedom farming work is including okra vegetation and flowers as a way to adorn her portrait. And this is, again, just a small nod to the amazing work that she did in providing her community access to food, and not just access to food, but really knowledge on sustaining the land and for themselves. For me, the 19th Amendment and really the anniversary celebration of it is a time to reckon with the immense amount of labor and really everything that was put at risk for generations that came before me to have access to voting, and also to reflect on what that access looks like today and how so many Black, Indigenous, and Brown people are still being targeted when it comes to voting, right? So I think this fight isn't over. And if anything, we should be reflecting, or I will be reflecting on the 19th Amendment and really looking at the ways that white feminism has been complicit in accessing the right to vote for themselves, and that means at the cost of Black, Indigenous, and Brown people.